Welcome to AFRITALES by Moonlight. Please subscribe, like, comment and share our channel with your friends. Thank you.
The next few weeks ran like clockwork. Every Friday, Zion met Leah in the warehouse lobby, coffee in one hand and his laptop in the other. They set up in an empty break room where faded safety first posters hung on the walls. Leah sketched process charts while Zion wrote code. Their teamwork felt calm and steady. Zion jumped from idea to idea. Leah kept him focused. Zion, what if users could give extra food straight to shelters? Leah, great, but we need refrigerated vans. Let's add a scheduling tool. If costs rose, Leah opened a spreadsheet and trimmed the budget on the spot. One rainy afternoon, Zion walked in upset. Another investor had pulled out. Leah poured tea, then took off her grandmother's brass locket. Inside was a tiny photo from 1960. My grandma lived through a civil war, Leah said. She taught me, when the ground shifts, plant your flag. She pressed the locket into Zion's hand. Pawn it. Pay for service. Talk to restaurants. Keep moving. Zion listened and built. Replate launched quietly with 2 burger shops and 1 bakery. Bugs popped up. Leah fixed them. When a driver left pastries at the wrong address, she rewrote the routing rules overnight. Soon 50 users were posting selfies with saved tacos. Leah poured every overtime penny into the project. Server bills, a bargain price designer, small Instagram ads. Money got tight. Her roommate noticed the pantry was missing rice, but Leah felt lighter. Each naira spent opened a door to the future. Zion scored 2 free passes to a downtown tech conference. Leah couldn't spare the ticket money or vacation days, so she coached him by chat. Wear plain colors. Start with numbers. End with the mission. At the event, Zion met Nia Lawson, daughter of big investor Frederick Lawson. In an emerald jumpsuit, Nia spoke with practice poise. During Q&A, Zion pitched Replate in 90 seconds. People liked his energy. Backstage, Nia offered connections to her father's restaurant group. Over the next month she set up demo dinners, polished his pitch deck, and even told him, "Your blazer should be navy, not gray." Zion's messages to Leah grew fewer, and late-night meetings filled his weekends. One stormy Thursday, Zion visited Leah's small flat. The power was on low because the bill was overdue, but Leah still served instant noodles. "They want to rebrand to Leftovers Legacy and expand to 4 cities," he said, eyes shining. Leah smiled. "That's amazing." He took her hands. "Leah, I need the right image for investors. They expect a certain look. Coming in with..." He stopped, but Leah understood. "With you." She pulled back. "I understand." Zion panicked. "You're incredible. I owe you everything. But if investors sense doubt, we both fail." Leah stood, washed the dishes, and spoke with her back to him. "Your big pitch is tomorrow. You should go." Zion left the locket on the counter. "I'll repay you, every cent," he whispered. The door clicked shut. Leah didn't cry. She cleaned the room, stacked overdue bills, and folded the couch blanket. Order made the pain manageable. At 1 a.m. she opened her journal and wrote, "He chose glitter, not gold. I am gold. I only need refining." Outside, the storm faded. The quiet felt like the world giving her space to begin again. The next weeks moved like letters with no stamps, always on time. Every Friday, Zion met Leah in the warehouse lobby, laptop under his arm and coffee in hand. They claimed an empty break room where old safety-first signs peeled off concrete walls. Leah drew flowcharts while Zion typed code. Their teamwork felt like slow-burning coal, not sparks. Zion's mind jumped from idea to idea. Leah's calm air kept the heat even. He asked, "What if users could give leftover meals straight to shelters?" She answered, "Drivers need cold trucks, so let's add a booking tool." When he sighed over costs, she opened a spreadsheet and cut the budget by grouping delivery times. One wet afternoon Zion came in looking like the rain outside. Investor number 7 had pulled out at the last minute. Leah made tea, then lifted her grandmother's brass locket from under her shirt. Inside was a tiny photo of her grandma from 1960, smiling like she knew a secret. "My grandma lived through war," Leah said, voice shaking at the edges. "She told me, when the ground moves, plant your flag. She meant, take the space, never step back." Leah pressed the locket into Zion's hand. Pawn this. Pay for test service. Talk to paying cafes. Plant those flags. Zion's eyes filled. Leah, Don't thank me, she said. Just build. He built. Replate went live quietly with 2 burger shops and 1 bakery. Bugs bit. Leah swatted them. When a driver left cakes at the wrong house, she fixed the route code that night. They cheered when 50 users posted photos of rescued tacos. Soon Leah's extra pay melted into tiny investments, server bills, a low-cost designer, small Instagram ads. Invoices stacked up. Her roommate noticed the rice shelf was bare. Yet Leah felt lighter, as if each naira spent chipped open a door to the future. Next came a city tech show. Zion got 2 free passes from a friend who ran the soundboard. He begged Leah to come, but she could not pay for travel or take time off. She coached him on chat instead, where playing colors, start with numbers, end with a vision. In the ivy-lined court of the venue, Zion mixed with founders. One panel starred Nia Lawson, daughter of big investor Fred Lawson. Nia walked the stage in an emerald jumpsuit, voice clay. During questions, Zion raised his hand. He pitched Replate's green win in 90 seconds. The crowd laughed and clapped at his bold energy. Behind the stage, Nia met him first. That was raw, she said, meaning honest and rough. Have you thought of big partners? I can link you to my dad's restaurant group. Her smile was a web dressed in shine. Zion, still holding Leah's locket, felt doors swing open. Over the next month, Nia set up demo dinners, had her team polish his slides, and said he should swap his gray blazer for navy. Zion texted Leah less. Meetings and calls across time zones stole the weekends. When he did visit, he looked carved by chances Leah could not pay for. One Thursday night, thunder cracked while Zion reached Leah's flat. Rain clung to his new coat. The living room light flickered. Past due bills had dropped the voltage. Leah served instant noodles, hiding bank letters under a cushion. They want us to launch again in 3 weeks with a new name. Leftovers into legacy, Zion said between bites. With seed money, we can reach 4 cities next year. His eyes shone like neon signs. Leah smiled. That's great. He reached across the table and held her hands. A speech of thanks, she guessed, or a share in the firm. Leah, he said, low and careful. Love is sweet, but I need lift. Her chest went still. He went on, back as one partners who fit the look. A story of struggle only sells after the win. Nia's crowd wants a certain style. I can't walk in with. He stopped, but Leah heard the missing words. With you. Rain drummed the metal roof like cruel applause. Leah pulled her hands back. She wanted to howl, throw unpaid bills at him, say she had paid for his dream. Instead she whispered, I understand. I'm not sure you do, Zion said, scared by her calm. You're amazing. I owe you all. But if they smell doubt, we both sink. Leah stood, moved to the sink, and washed the bowls with slow, steady strokes. Still facing away, she said, you should leave. Your pitch is tomorrow. Zion hesitated, then set the locket on the counter. I'll pay you back one day, he muttered, though they both felt a debt deeper than money. The door closed with a thud that shook her teeth. She did not cry right away. She cleaned the room, sorted the unpaid bills by size, folded the couch blanket into thirds. Order gave shape to pain. Shape made it lighter. At 1 a.m. she opened her journal. Ink ran over the paper like a broken dam. He chose glitter, not gold. And her hand stopped. She breathed out. Then she wrote, I am gold. I only need refining. Outside, the storm calmed to a hush, as if the sky paused to hear women decide not to break. Leah's office badge clinked against her ribs as she hurried through the warehouse the next morning. The place smelled of motor oil and instant coffee, but the noise, usually a chorus of forklifts, felt far away, like she'd stepped off a boat onto steady land only to find it still swaying. She'd slept 2 hours. Even that was generous. Her mind replayed Zion's words on a loop. Love is beautiful, but I need leverage. Every loop added an acid underscore. Yet the world demanded motion, shipments to reconcile, trucks to route. She forced herself to move, thinking, be the machine until the heart recalibrates. Something in her posture told the day shift supervisor, Salim, not to ask questions. He handed her a stack of pick lists without his usual small talk. She worked like a drone, eyes scanning barcodes, fingers flying over her handheld scanner. In 6 hours she cleared an 8-hour queue. By late afternoon the monotony started to puncture the fog. Lunch break came. Leah retreated to the break room, that same room where she and Zion once planned the future, and almost laughed at the beige walls. Nothing had changed here, yet everything inside her felt rearranged, as if a demolition crew had rolled through silently overnight. She tapped her phone, half expecting a good morning, sunshine text. Nothing. Instead, an email pinged from a generic investor relations address. Leftovers Legacy announces pre-seed round led by Lawson Ventures. Leah's lungs deflated. She closed the email and stared at her coffee. The steam spiraled upward, a reminder that even heat escapes when the air above is cold. Then her phone buzzed again. WhatsApp. A voice note from her roommate. Sade. Babe, you left your journal open. Don't worry, I didn't read. Just checking if you're okay. Dinner tonight? I got plantains. The warmth in Sade's tone cracked something inside Leah. She typed back, plantains sound perfect. I'll bring ice cream. Minutes later she returned to her station. Salim approached cautiously. You sure you're okay, Leah? I'm getting there, she said, surprising herself with the honesty. The day passed. After clockout, Leah skipped her usual bus and walked 3 blocks under the fading sun. Each step felt heavy but necessary, an anchor dropping into new sediment. She bought the cheapest tub of vanilla ice cream she could find, then hesitated at the checkout, remembering unpaid bills. But she placed it on the counter anyway. Small kindness to self went the mental ledger note. Back home, Sade waved her wooden spoon like a conductor coaxing symphonies out of sizzling oil. Tell me everything, she demanded. Leah recounted the breakup in clipped sentences. Sade's eyes flashed. He leveraged your heart and then bounced. Trash move. Leah half smiled. He believes he's choosing opportunity. Opportunity can wear heels and waltz into boardrooms. Doesn't mean it's love. They ate plantains and beans, laughing at Sade's dramatic reenactment of investors fainting from Zion's raw pitch. For the first time that day, Leah felt her lungs expand fully. Later she fetched a journal, flipping to a fresh page. The words spilled effortlessly. The smell of Zion's coat, the ache of quiet rooms, the resilience of women who refused to break loudly. She paused, then wrote a simple manifesto. I will not be an afterthought. I will build in silence until my voice owns volume. I will become the kind of calm that terrifies storms. She closed the journal. Tonight, she allowed one tear. Then she slept. The weeks that followed were stitched with routine. Leah switched from coffee to ginger tea, ditched bus rides for morning walks, and kept her phone on silent. Salim noticed her efficiency spike even higher. She created a color-coded replenishment chart that shaved 2 hours off loading times. He emailed regional HQ about her exceptional process innovation. But after work, Leah's evenings were an echo chamber. Sade's shifts as a medical intern meant empty rooms. Leah filled them with audiobooks, Maya Angelou's cadences, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's essays on choice and power. Sometimes she'd pause the playback and answer the authors aloud, debating them like old friends. Every memory of Zion stung less each day. But grief is an expert in surprise attacks. One rainy night she opened Instagram to a flood of Leftovers Legacy promo images, Zion in a navy blazer, Nia at his side like a brand ambassador. Saving meals. Saving Earth. Saving your pocket. The caption credit read creative direction at Nia_Lawson. Leah closed the app. Anger stayed, but another emotion pushed through, resolve. Not to outshine Zion. That would make her orbit his gravity still. No, she wanted her own constellation. She went to the fridge, retrieved the vanilla ice cream, half melted into abstract sculpture, and spooned a clump. To becoming, she muttered, clinked the spoon against the countertop like a toast, and swallowed determination disguised as dairy. Morning after morning, Leah filled notebooks with logistical redesigns, startup frameworks, and scribbled theories on invisible talent syndrome, how quiet workers carried the world yet stayed unseen. She mapped an online course curriculum, envisioning a platform where under-recognized professionals could learn strategy, negotiation, and personal branding without corporate gatekeeping. She named it Quiet Power Academy. She bought the domain with a desperate wiggle of overdraft credit, whispering, ROI, please don't embarrass me. One Sunday afternoon, Sade found Leah sprawled across the living room floor amid sticky notes. Are we summoning demons or building empires? The latter, I hope. Leah laughed. Sade plopped down. Need a test student? I could use negotiation skills for consultants who think interns work for free. Leah beamed. Lesson 1. Charge interest in confidence. They spent hours filming rough tutorials on Leah's ancient phone propped against books. The production value was pitiful, but the content, case studies of quiet achievers disrupting industries, was electrifying. Within a month, the test run of the course had 12 paying students, some nurses from Sade's hospital, others from Leah's warehouse team. Thought for 5 seconds. Within a month, the test run of the course had 12 paying students, some nurses from Sade's hospital, others from Leah's warehouse team. The feedback was great. Your quiet leadership tip changed how I run my night team. I used your pair script and my boss said yes. Leah spent every fee on better gear, new microphones and a used camera. Each piece felt like a brick in a room no one could knock down. 3 months after the breakup, a message popped up. Hi Leah, I watched your mini-class on quiet power. Your idea of humble facts is fresh. Can you help us refresh our brand? Leah looked the sender up online. He had a top business degree and worked at big firms. She felt excited and nervous. She replied, Thank you. I'd love to talk. They set a video call for next Tuesday. Leah made 43 slides but used just 5. He asked calm, simple questions that showed he cared about her ideas, not fancy slides. At the end, he said, I want you to lead research for our phone company rebrand. 2 weeks on site in a big city, then work from home. Pay is at a senior level. Leah almost dropped her phone. Lead. He smiled. Yes. You turn daily work into clear stories. Pay will match a senior role. After the call, Leah screamed into a pillow. Sade burst in with a frying pan. What happened? I got a job in a big city. Leah gasped. Sade tossed the pan like confetti. Girl, pack your mind and your best wig. Africa is calling. That night, Leah printed her flight ticket and the contract. She slid them into her journal under her notes. The date stopped her. 91 days since Zion left. 91 days from heartbreak to a new start. The flight to Nairobi felt like a blur of clouds and new chance. Leah pressed her forehead to the plane window, watching the coast slip away below. For the first time, she was above the life she had left behind. At 40,000 feet, everything looked small. A smile spread across her face. She felt a knot in her stomach ease into excitement. A driver met Leah at the airport holding a sign that read welcome. He wore jeans and a simple jacket. No tie, no fuss. 2 helpers stood by the luggage because the hotel car had already taken it. In the car, her partner asked about her favorite writer and her least favorite buzzword. Leah answered, teamwork. Too often it hides lazy work. He laughed and nodded. Leah felt understood, not judged. The next 2 weeks were a fast lesson in good stress. The phone company was losing young customers and needed a fresh start. Leah ran group chats in town and the suburbs, noting what people said. Each session took hours and she wrote down every thought. She found out people did not hate the brand. They hated that it stayed quiet on real issues. Every night, they met to talk over simple street food. He sat with his hands together and listened. You changed how they see their own problem, he said one night. Leah shrugged. I notice patterns. He said, that is your superpower. She looked away, shy under such praise. Work ended at 8, but they often stayed late, talking about right and wrong and snacking on spice chips. He was careful and curious, like a scientist who also loved sports. One night, Leah sketched a plan on a napkin for keeping customers. He leaned back and said, you don't need to hide your smarts to boost someone's ego. Your clear words light up a room. His words felt so calm that Leah had to close her eyes. She thought of her ex who once said, your mind scares people. He said, your mind frees people. Same mind, different mirror. Pitch day came. Leah wore a bright jacket her friend lent her, sharp and neat. 14 leaders sat in a long room. Leah clicked through 10 simple slides that changed the phone brand into a support network for young people. She suggested small scholarships paid for by unused data and prices set by feedback from rural users. When she finished, the head leader spoke. Why should they trust you? She asked. Leah replied, You have been talking coverage. They want courage. Change your tone, and they will change their minds. Silence filled the room until a printer whirred. Then the leader smiled and said, Approve. The room broke into applause. Afterward, her partner shook her hand. Rarely do plans get that kind of support. You belong here. They went to dinner at a small bistro with vines on the walls and a jazz band in the corner. Under soft lights, Leah said she feared getting too loud by the usual standards. He sipped his drink and said, Speaking up is not a crime. Some voices should be quiet. Yours can be loud because the world is loud. Leah felt tears, but she stayed calm. I have always worked behind the scenes. He said, Then step into the light. A soft breeze moved the paper on the table. He lifted it under her glass so it would not slip. The small act spoke louder than many words. Leah let out a long breath. In that moment, she let go of the old role of waiting to be chosen. She was already chosen, by life, by purpose, by the quiet strength inside her. 2 weeks later, Leah returned home. A friend met her at the door with a note. She had been promoted and would get 3 times her old pay, all because of the work she did on that project. In her email, she found another note with her payment, numbers so big she had to sit down. She called her friend, and they danced in the kitchen, bits of fried plantain in the air. That evening, Leah opened social media. A recent post showed her ex and his new partner at a fancy gala with a big check, $5 million raised to grow food programs. Comments cheered, Power couple, and they are amazing. Leah's heart beat fast. Some pride she still wanted him to win, but also relief that his success no longer defined her. She scrolled past and wrote a short post. I am proud of my team and the change we made. It shows that action plus care make real change. The post got hundreds of likes inside hours and a message, Want to speak at our next event. Leah stayed at the offer. A speaking event. For her. She closed her journal with a steady hand. She felt a new chapter ready to begin. She whispered, Let's do it. She knew that choice would bring her past, her present, and her future into one moment and change everything she thought she knew about moving on. Leah got an email from a big tech festival asking her to give the Day 2 keynote. Quiet Power. How Hidden Talent Moves Billion-Dollar Supply Chains. When she saw it, she took a step back as if the screen might burst. She forwarded it to Sade with 5 mind-blown emojis, then called Idris. Keynote, he repeated, his voice warm on the phone. That's exactly right. You belong on that stage. I've never spoken to more than 20 people live, Leah said. You faced tougher crowds, warehouse teams on double shifts, Idris reminded her. Same truth, bigger MIC. She sighed. Bigger chance to mess up. Oh, he said, a bigger chance to catch the wind. For 2 weeks, Leah built her talk like a careful checklist. Every minute was timed, every story weighed just right. Slide 1 was a photo of the loading bay where she once felt invisible. Slide 7 showed Quiet Power Academy stats, 312 students from 6 countries and 87% good feedback. Slide 12 displayed one handwritten note from her grandmother. A whisper guides a caravan when the desert trusts it. Each night, Leah rehearsed in her living room. Sade played camerawoman, calling out, More eye contact. Slow down, hey. When Leah's voice quivered, Sade held up a card that read Breathe. 4 days before the festival, Leah's throat tightened in mid-practice. Words stuck like dry fruit. She sank onto the sofa. What if I crack? She whispered. Sade sat beside her. Then crack like thunder. Force everyone to listen. They laughed, but Leah's eyes filled. She feared speaking, being heard, then being forgotten. On the big day, the convention center looked like a glowing circuit board of kiosks and catwalks. The air smelled of spicy rice and plastic headsets. Backstage, Leah gripped her clicker, palms sweaty. A crew member strapped a simple heart rate monitor to her wrist. It blinked 112 BPM. You okay? Idris asked, stepping in wearing a neat dark jacket. He'd flown in that morning just to support her. I might be sick, Leah said softly. Give your nerves to the floor, he said, pressing her shoulders. Let it hold them. The MC called her name. Leah stepped into bright lights that washed out the front row of faces. The audience hushed. She opened with no slide, only story. The night equipment failed and a janitor's fix saved $1 million shipment. He had no title, Leah said, voice steady. So we logged his idea under other. That unseen work made real profit. Slide 2. A chart of logistics GDP versus public credit for low-level workers. The gap read 67%. The room gasped. Slide 4. A photo of quiet power graduates, nurses, welders, microfarmers, holding certificates. Leah zoomed on their eyes. This is skill retold. Her heart rate on the screen slowed from 112 to 88. The crowd saw her calm settle, as if her confidence was catching. Next, she shared easy plans, transparent pay lanes, reverse mentorship loops, small equity pools. She quoted a simple proverb in English, honoring her promise to speak clearly. The final slide was blank. A line appeared in real time. The loudest part of thunder is the air that lets it through. She clicked off and walked down to a standing ovation that shook the floor. Backstage, cameras swarmed. Idris shielded her until PR whisked them to interviews. They called it the Leah method. Leah wanted to laugh. It was just her breathing through fear 3 months ago. Her phone blew up with social invites, podcast spots, and DMs from top publications. #Quiet Power trended in the top 5 worldwide by dusk. In a hotel room far away, Zion watched the live stream. He was polishing his own investor deck. When Leah appeared, his jaw dropped. The woman who once read his messy code now led 4,000 founders. Every time her heart rate fell on screen, his heart jumped. He replayed the clip 3 times, each wave of applause hitting him like surf on stone. His partner stepped out of the shower. "Who is that?" "An old friend," Zion said, muting the stream, as she kissed him unaware he'd just seen the crossroads where past and future meet. 2 days later, Leah sat on a balcony over the water. Idris faced her, city lights twinkling below. He slid an envelope across the table. "Full partner track," he said. "You'd head our new ethics unit. 6-figure salary, profit share, full remote." Leah's hands shook. "People work 10 years for this." "You built an academy from rent money," Idris said. "You turned a telecom around in 2 weeks. This matches reality." Tez caught her throat. "Why me?" He smiled. "Because you never swap integrity for show. You spent your comfort to fund others' dreams. Imagine when the dream is yours." Leah looked at the paper, then at him. Silence hummed between them. In that quiet, she felt wings unfold. The plane dropped through a layer of clouds and turned toward Cape Town. Leah pressed her forehead to the window. Below, the ocean shone. Ahead, Table Mountain rose from the mist like a silent god. Next to her, Idris marked their schedule. "Sound check at 2:30, he said. "Your chat at 4:15. Closing talk at 5 o'clock. I left you 20 minutes between." Leah laughed. "I'm not a rocket." He smiled. "But ideas burn hot. Even rockets need cool down." A flight attendant offered tea. Leah breathed in its steam and thought of her grandmother's porch after rain, steadying her heart. In her seat pocket was the festival program. Her photo filled 1 page. Just below, Zion and Nia's feature announced their food sustainability project. Leah traced the headline with her thumb, feeling only calm curiosity. Cape Town greeted them with a cool breeze and red roofs. At the convention center, volunteers in bright hoodies hustled. Giant screens rotated speakers' faces, Hayes and Zion's, side by side. In the green room, Leah found chargers, water, and fruit arranged just so. She checked her reflection. In a bold red outfit, she felt ready. Her phone buzzed. It was Sade. "Show them your power. Thunder needs no audition." Leah smiled and tucked the phone away. On stage, technicians clipped on her mic. She practiced her opening line. "Impact without ethics is a building on sand," and paced the empty seats. Her heart read 92 BPM. "Steady." Idris gave a thumbs up. From the wings, Leah saw Zion pacing across the hall. He spotted her, nodded, then she turned back to the stage. "Levels feel good," she told the tech and stepped off. They had a few hours free, so Idris suggested a walk by the waterfront. Leah bought 2 sweet pastries and handed one to Idris. "To cool down," she said, raising her treat. He clinked his piece to hers. They sat watching ships at the docks. "Supply chains unload goods," Leah said. The way we unload stories. He nodded. And sometimes those ships carry hidden work and unseen people. Leah agreed, wiping syrup from her thumb. Backstage, Leah's fireside chat began first. A host gave her a fist bump. The audience leaned in as she spoke of janitors, algorithms, and ethics. They laughed at her warehouse stories. When asked which business rule she'd change, Leah said, "Humility and authority belong together." Applause rolled in. Idris, watching from the wings, pressed a hand to his heart. The clock read 4:40. Zion's session would start in 5 minutes. Leah stepped aside and let the next story begin. The plane dipped through clouds and headed toward Cape Town. Leah pressed her forehead to the window. Below, the ocean gleamed. Ahead, Table Mountain rose from the mist. At the festival, Hall B pulsed with music and neon lights. Leah slipped in quietly. Zion stood on stage beside Nia. Their slide read, "From Leftovers to Legacy, Scaling to 4 Continents by 2027. Zion spoke smoothly. He clicked through charts of meals saved, carbon credits sold, and investors in Berlin and Dubai. The crowd nodded. Next, he showed a blurred photo of a small warehouse break room. Leah recognized it, the place she and Zion had once fixed replate. "Thanks to all the unsung heroes," Zion said. After questions, the audience swarmed Zion and Nia. Leah turned to leave, but Zion saw her. He paused the crowd. "Leah," he said softly. She smiled politely. "Congratulations. Great roadmap." Nia shook her hand. Then the journalists called Zion away. In the empty space, Zion looked at Leah. "I watched your Lagos talk. Twice. You were luminous." "Thank you," Leah said. He took a breath. "I never said sorry properly." "You did what you had to do," Leah answered. "Still, I'm sorry." Leah nodded once. "May your legacy rescue more than leftovers." "Take care, Leah." "I already do," she said, and walked off. In Hall A, Leah warmed up for her closing keynote. She sipped ginger water and read a note from Idris. "Your voice is a lighthouse. Ship set course by light, not storm." On stage, her first slide showed a cracked pot repaired with gold. Leah spoke of repair and steady growth. She tied together warehouse fixes, her ethics work at the bank, and her leadership course. "True value comes from dignity and repair," she said. Halfway through, she turned to the founders. "If you rely on unpaid work, list it on your cap table. Accountability is the new alpha." She closed by telling how she pawned her grandmother's locket to fund a prototype, and how Zion returned it months later. Holding the locket high, she said, "This is evidence that real investment starts at home and lands on stages like this." The crowd rose in a long-standing ovation. Leah's heart rate read 85 BPM. She felt calm. Backstage, Idris guided interviews. Leah slipped away to a terrace. The sunset painted the sky pink. Idris joined her with 2 cups of tea. "Your keynote is number 3 worldwide," he said. "I wanted a steady career," Leah laughed. "Now I'm a whirlwind." "Whirlwinds reshape landscapes," Idris said. They watched the waves below. Idris squeezed her hand. "No shrinking needed. Only growth," she said. In Johannesburg, Zion sat alone. He replayed her locket story on his laptop, jaw tight. He drafted a congratulatory text but deleted it. Instead, he messaged the CFO. "Let's create a reward pool for our early helpers." The next morning on the flight home to Lagos, Leah studied Idris sleeping beside her. She wrote in her journal, "Thunder never rehearses. Closure is the echo you choose. True love expands you." As the plane landed, Leah felt ready. Her revolution had begun quietly, and now it was roaring. Landing back in Lagos felt like stepping into a familiar playlist. Horns blaring, plantain oil drifting from roadside grills, the lagoon's wet earth breath pushing against her cheeks. Leah's phone buzzed nonstop, articles quoting her thunder line, CEOs requesting advisory calls, 2 late-night DJs asking for a 5-minute on-air soundbite. She muted everything for 48 hours. For years, silence had been a hiding place. Now it was a deliberate harvest. Time to sift applause from intention. Idris stayed in the guest room of her new Yaba apartment the first night. They shared leftover suya on the balcony, watching barges drag constellations of light across the water. When the city finally dozed, Leah pressed her hand over his. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For building a stage beneath a woman who thought she'd drown if she stood up." He shook his head. "You built the stage. I just pointed at it." They drifted to sleep on separate couches, affection restrained by exhaustion. Morning sunlight found them tangled in opposite blankets, both smiling at the absurd domesticity. The Quiet Power Academy dashboard spiked, 12,000 new sign UPS in 3 days. Servers groaned. Leah's teaching assistants flooded Slack. Need more bandwidth, more tutors, more everything. Leah convened an emergency Zoom, mosaic of nurses, welders, call center analysts. "We scale," she said, "but with soul." She proposed recruiting alumni as paid micro-mentors, leveraging recorded modules for foundation lessons, reserving lifetime for deeper, context-heavy coaching. They voted unanimously. After the call, Leah drafted a new mission slide. Scale without dilution, quality as quiet thunder. One wet Thursday evening, a courier delivered a cream envelope with no return address. Inside, a single page. "Leah, I keep replaying the kitchen table where you placed your grandmother's locket in my palm. I can't undo that moment, but I can invest forward. Enclosed is a term sheet. 2% of leftovers legacy equity, vested immediately, acknowledging your founding labor. No strings. Just overdue accounting. Zion." Leah stared at the bold signature, heart oddly calm. Zion's gesture was reparation, not romance. She opened a spreadsheet, ran hypothetical valuations. Even at conservative projections, 2% equaled a decade of warehouse pay. She emailed back, "Zion, equity accepted on one condition. Implement the collateral equity pool for all unseen contributors, past and future. Send amended cap table and public statement within 30 days. Then we're square." L. Minutes later, a reply, "Deal. Release goes live Friday." Leah exhaled. No need for brunches or memoir monologues. An ethical ledger had balanced itself. Saturday, she and Idris drove 4 hours east to her grandmother's village, Arachukwu. Rain slicked red earth into pudding. Children chased the car, yelling "Auntie Computer." Word of Leah's exploits had migrated via WhatsApp aunties. At Grandma Nettie's old bungalow, ivy curled around cracked shutters. Leah unlocked the door, inhaling dust and dried pepper. She found the carved rocking chair where Nettie once recited war stories. Leah sat, letting wood creak beneath modern confidence. Idris knelt to patch a peeling floorboard, quiet labor mirroring hairs. "Some places deserve restoration," he said. They spent 2 days clearing cobwebs, stacking firewood, and re-roofing with local carpenters. Nights, they cooked Gary and a bono soup over charcoal, laughter floating to trees where crickets kept rhythm. On the second night, Leah produced the locket, now restrung on gold chain. She hung it on a nail above the doorway. "Evidence," she murmured. Idris kissed her brow. On their last morning, mist hugged the cassava fields. Idris brewed coffee in a dented kettle. Leah joined him on the veranda steps, both wearing mudflecked jeans. He cleared his throat. "I have 2 proposals." She raised an eyebrow. "Business or personal?" "Feist, business. Let's launch an annual Quiet Power Fellowship. 30 professionals from overlooked sectors, fully funded, rotating across African cities." Leah beamed. "Yes. And the second?" He produced a slim ring of hammered brass, not an engagement token, but something simpler. "Symbol that we navigate together," he said. "No timeline, no ceremony pressure. Wear it if the journey sounds good." Leah examined the ring, imperfect, warm, forged like kintsugi seams. She slipped it onto her middle finger. "It sounds like a map I want to draw." They sealed the promise with foreheads touching, breath mingling with morning chill. Back in Lagos, preparations for the first Quiet Power Fellowship accelerated. Sponsors lined up, a Pan-African telecom, a solar startup, an art foundation. Leah emphasized conditions, minimum 60% of funding toward fellow stipends, not PR backdrops. During a planning session, an eager marketing exec suggested a tagline, "Giving voices to the voiceless." Leah shook her head gently. "They have voices, we're funding the microphone." The room scribbled notes furiously. Applications poured in, a Sudanese robotics teacher building low-cost prosthetics, a Cameroonian cocoa farm order to designing fair trade tracking, a Kenyan deaf chemist pioneering fragrance synthesis. Leah read every narrative, tears sometimes dotting the printed pages. Imagine all these quiet revolutions, she told Idris one night. Documents scattered across the dining table. He squeezed her shoulder. And you're weaving them into one thunderclap. Opening night of the Quiet Power Fellowship filled Lagos's Freedom Park with lantern light. Former colonial prison walls now housed murals of women hauling planets on their shoulders, men weaving circuits from vines. 30 fellows, uniformed only in lanyards and uncontainable excitement, circled a bonfire. Leah stepped onto a small wooden platform. No speeches, she declared into the MIC, just pledges. She invited them one by one to state a single-sentence commitment. The robotics teacher vowed to design prosthetics no child outgrows in a year. The deaf chemist signed, with interpreter, turn fragrance into accessible art. The cocoa auditor pledged proof of dignity from farm to cup. Cheers followed each vow, sparks from the fire leaping like punctuation. Leah went last. I pledge to keep doors unhinged so no one waits for permission to enter. Thunderous applause, some tears. Idris watched from the perimeter, eyes glassy. Personal spheres thrived too. Idris and Leah made a ritual of quarterly reflection retreats, off-grid cabins where they asked 3 questions. What stretched you? What scarred you? What saved you? Answers ranged from partner negotiations to Twitter trolls to ginger tea at 2 a.m. One Hamatan evening, they invited Sade and other friends for a rooftop cookout. Music floated up. Leah danced barefoot, Idris matching steps, brass ring glinting under fairy lights. Mid-song, Sade shouted, "When's the wedding?" Leah laughed. "We're busy rewriting power structures." Idris added, "Marriage is iterative design, MVP coming soon." But 6 months later, during a research trip to Zanzibar, they exchanged vows under a baobab tree, just the two of them, an officiant, and a circle of fellowship alumni as witnesses. Leah wore a jumpsuit the shade of dawn, Idris a linen tunic. Instead of rings, they tied strands of woven gold fiber around each other's wrists. The pattern left just enough slack for expansion. No one shrank. At year-end, TechRise announced a new award, the Obadara Prize for Ethical Innovation. Leah insisted the cash component feed directly into the fellowship. Idris added a mentorship clause. Winners must mentor 2 Quiet Power alumni. Circular impact, value recirculated like cautious blood. During the inaugural ceremony, the host asked Leah on stage, "When did you realize you'd become a lighthouse for others?" Leah answered gently, "I didn't. I realized the shore was crowded with ships in fog. Someone had to hold up a lamp." She looked across the audience. Zion clapped from row 5, next to Nia, who nodded respectfully. In his lap lay a toddler, apparently their daughter, clapping with squeals. Life had rearranged itself with quiet symmetry. 5 years later, Leah and Idris sat on Nettie's bungalow veranda, now fully restored, solar panels glinting. Fellowship alumni planted a community tech hub nearby. Children coded on refurbished tablets beneath mango trees. Rain clouds gathered. Leah held her newborn son, Tob, name meaning praise God. Idris traced little fingers, whispering metrics of wonder. Thunder rumbled distant. Leah smiled. Grandma used to say thunder was sky drums warning us to listen. Idris kissed her temple. What's it saying now? That the next revolution stays in small arms, in overlooked corners, in whispers that will one day deafen complacency. Lightning flashed. Tob yawned, unconcerned. Leah rocked the chair, the locket around her neck chiming softly. That night, after everyone slept, Leah opened her weathered journal. 1 blank page remained. She wrote, "Quiet revolution principles. Visibility is a shared resource. Power measured only in decibels collapses in silence. Equity is back pay for blind spots. Love must scale without dilution. Thunder belongs to everyone brave enough to listen." She signed, closed the cover, and placed it beside Tob's cradle. Outside, tropical rain began, steady, confident drops drumming the roof Leah once patched with Idris. No urgency, no rage, just presence. And somewhere beyond the clouds, Sky accepted the gentle rebellion of one woman who refused to beg, who grew instead of glowing, who turned silence into a symphony audible from warehouses to boardrooms to village porches. The revolution remained quiet, loud enough for the world to finally hear.
Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment your thoughts and share. See you in the next story. AFRITALES by Moonlight.